What's up, my YouTube family? It's your boy Roberto checking in with another video, guys. So I'm gonna be talking about the giant that roams Afghanistan. Well, there's more, but the one that was that went to pretty much war with the U.S. soldiers. Uh, so in the city of Khandahar, Afghanistan. Uh, U.S. soldiers were dropped off at a starting point, basically, and one soldier was dropped off and pretty much lost contact with all the other soldiers before they were dropped off. They dropped him off, and nobody knew what happened to him. Couldn't find him or anything. And I'm gonna show you probably like a 5-minute video of them explaining exactly what happened, and then I'm gonna go give you my input on it because there are giants that still roam the earth now and been roaming it for a long time. And a lot of these places, these little villages and stuff like that, they know about these giants. They know about them. They know everything about them. They know they're cannibals and they eat humans. But because they're so out of touch with the outside world that they don't communicate this stuff with us. But I'm going to show you a small clip of the Khandahar giant, them talking about the giant. Like I said, there are giants that roam everywhere. We just don't hear about them. The government keeps it from us from installing fear in humans. It's just as they keep aliens and UFOs. So check out this video, guys. I'm sorry if I'm saying the name wrong, but the Khandahar giant, 12 foot tall, very fast, very mobile. Killed a couple of soldiers, but eventually he was taken out. Watch the clip, and I'll be back after the clip to talk more about it, all right?
Was dispatched in a very rugged, remote area in Afghanistan. 2002, looking for high-value targets. So the patrol is dropped off by helicopter. They do their thing. They're supposed to check in. They don't check in. The second check-in time comes in. It doesn't happen. Third one.
They call them rally points.
Rally points. And they never met any of the rally points. So everybody's going where they are. Was it an ambush, a firefight? What's going on? A second patrol is dispatched, dropped off in exactly the same.
That's where our guy ended up.
Yeah, we'll call him a shooter. He's in the second patrol. The shooter's now in the second patrol, embedded with these guys. And they're following this goat trail. They're coming down in this very rugged area, looking for the lost patrol. And as they're coming down this goat trail, the shooter in front of him, he sees these like white fragment things on the ground, and he realizes it's bone. And also there's like meat attached to the bone.
There were bloody bones on the ground and torn up military equipment.
Like the radio.
Gear that he recognized, but it was in pieces. And so what's happened here?
So they're going wild animal, were they butchered or something by Taliban? I mean, no one knows. So they come down the goat trail, and it ends in like this little plateau, like a ledge. And on the edge of the ledge, it goes down. It's a precipice, like 500, 600, 1,000 feet to the valley floor below. And they're sort of dispersed. What's happening at this point? All of a sudden, out of the cave comes the thing of someone's nightmare. It's 12 feet. It's got a large spear, at least 10 feet tall, in its hand, a shield in the other hand. It's got flaming red hair. Later on, they counted the 6 fingers to this thing, 6 toes, double rows of teeth. And this thing is like ready to fight. These guys are absolutely petrified. Who wouldn't be? Can you imagine something 12 feet tall coming out of the cave? A nightmare that's not supposed to exist. All your training doesn't kick in, nothing. You're just stupefied. You're standing there, shocked.
All of a sudden, there's this really big dude standing in front of you, and actually up above them a bit. He was like on a ledge.
He's on a ledge, so it's even more pronounced.
So he was like looming over them.
Wow.
And he jumped down with this spear, and was really adept with it. It was really fast. I mean, this is one thing that he told us many times. He said, I didn't expect the speed and agility because he said all of the CGI effects, and he mentioned this, that you see in movies of giants, they're always like kind of lumbering along.
Yeah.
That is not the way it was. This thing moved like a lance. It's like a 3-foot lance on a 10-foot pole, and the giant could swing around with this and bag you with the end of this pole as well. So he knew what he was doing and used to using it. The weird thing about it is, why has he got this ancient Roman shield? I mean, he was using really ancient tools, and he was dressed in a way that was, very ancient.
Very odd.
It was really strange.
So as the firefight happens, these guys are at the mouth of the cave. A giant comes out. and we could get into how the way he sounds, but the part that always leaves me, and this goes back to where the shooter chokes and the shooter breaks down every time he tells the story. So they're dispersed, they're frozen, looking at this thing. One of the guys is named Dan. Dan breaks loose and he starts firing at this thing, at the giant. And this is where the giant moves with such speed and agility that it defies logic. How's this thing moving that fast? Before Dan can do anything, he's hoisted up on this petard, literally, in the air, one hand. And the giant, according to the shooter, isn't done. He's coming after more of them. At this point, the training kicks in with these guys. Someone, and the shooter thinks it might have been him, yells, "Shoot him in the head, shoot him in the head." And they just blast this guy's face
apart. He had
apart.
big guns. He had semi-automatic weapons.
308s, 50 cals.
50s, and basically shot the giant in the chest and in the head, in the face, and actually blew the bottom part of the giant's face off, where they could look into it. And when the giant was laying on the ground, he told me, he said it was like looking into a cave because his head was so huge.
The eyes were as big as a man's
You
fist.
could see his teeth in there, but it was really kind of a mess after that happened.
Double rows of teeth.
But this was like, a very smelly,
Wow.
weird.
Had never had a shower.
Yeah.
And
Well,
regularly killed and ate human beings.
He was a cannibal.
Yeah.
There's no doubt
And
that the
all
giant
the
was a cannibal.
locals knew that.
Wow.
The locals knew that he was. Well, the pilot, when going back to the original interview
With Steve Quayle.
on George Norrie's show, the pilot said that the whole thing, the whole package with the giant, the pallet he was on, and the rigging to hold him down weighed 1,500 pounds. He said so the pallet and the rigging weighed, about 400 pounds. So the giant weighed like 1,100 pounds by itself.
It's a really
And it was
good guy.
fast.
And he said it was like 12 feet long and kind of curled up.
So that was the story of the Khandahar giant. So I think I've made a video about this a long time ago, talking about giants roaming the earth and how they are cannibals and how they slaughter humans and eat us. A lot of times in wars, dating back all the way back to World War I, there have been stories of giant people attacking soldiers and eating the soldiers. But because this is such a big deal, the government keeps it from us and they don't tell it to us. You'll hear a lot of stories from soldiers talking about how they were attacked or how they were they had friends that were attacked by a giant and eaten by a giant. But a lot of times people don't believe them because the story just sounds so wild and so far-fetched. But in reality, these are true stories. There are really giants that live out there, and they're usually in these deserts and these wooded areas. They're apex predators. Okay, they're apex predators. They have no natural predators. Okay, because they're so huge, and then you got to think they have human reactions and mobile like humans. They're like gorillas, but smarter. And actually, I believe they're a lot taller too. So there's really they fear nothing. And then, like I said, they feed on humans. So a lot of times, like I said, these villagers know about them because guess where they go to hunt their food? They wait for the villagers or anybody just bypassing their area or whatever. They attack them and they eat them. Now I don't know if their method of eating them is like snapping their neck and killing them before they eat them, or if they eating them alive. But these apex predators are known to do this, and they evolved a little different because of how and where they live at. They adapt to their environment, so they naturally grow bigger. They eat differently, so their bodies grow a lot different than ours do. And I think genetically there's something slightly different. They could possibly be the original humans of the earth. Because if you think about it, humans, they say we evolved from apes and caves and all this other stuff, and we were a lot taller back then. We used to walk with our backs slouching. Over time, we evolved to where we stand straight up. If you start to think about it, everything they said always sounds a lot like these giants that they talk about. I've even heard the stories of a lot of giants roaming China. Well, maybe the giants were the original people of this earth, and then we came along. But that's another story right now. We're focused on these giant beings. Like I said, a lot of time in wars, soldiers are usually a big victim of them because they're not from wherever the area is, so they don't know about them. And they get caught by surprise. And then the next thing you know is they're being slaughtered and eaten by a giant person. There have been so many stories of soldiers saying, a friend or somebody in war, holding down their spot or whatever, and being attacked by something huge, a huge person. And a lot of times they thought that the opposing country created superhumans. This was a big thing back in the days that even the United States government assumed that even when during the Cold War, the Russians, they assumed that they were creating super soldiers. I'm pretty sure you guys heard about super soldiers. And because of the stories of the soldiers were coming back telling them how they were attacked by huge people and things of that sort, the American government thought that the Russians were creating super soldiers, and that kind of put fear in their heart and it made them feel like the Russians were more advanced. But in reality, these super soldiers, these superhumans, they're just regular huge creatures that have been around, and they're just protecting their territory, and they're feeding because they're cannibals, they eat other people. So it's a lot of confusion going on, but this has been around for, like I said, centuries, years, dating back to World War I. Even before then, there have been stories of giants. If you go to those like Afghanistan, Iraq, and places like that in the desert and all these other places, you will see hidden in a lot of these caves, there's a whole different type of life. Even down to Antarctica, there's stories of people living a different type of a human species living in the caves down there that is the government has off limits and does not allow to the public because they don't want us to know about it. There's so much more to this earth that we don't know about because our government doesn't allow us to know. These giant species are among us. And this is something that not a lot of people talk about because it's not a big deal. They don't think about it daily. But this is a big deal. This would be an amazing discovery if we figured out, we learned more about these super, whatever you want to call it, species of human. Come on, 12 feet tall, 2 rows of teeth, eyeballs as big as a fist. That's scary. It's very scary, y'all. But I'm going to keep doing more research on these super soldiers. I'm not going to say super soldiers because they're not soldiers. These superhumans. And I'm going to let you guys know what else I find out. But right now, I'm still looking into it. This has been something I've been big on for a very long time. And I want to learn more about it. And I want to teach you guys more about it. And, maybe one day we can catch one on camera. We're still out here looking for Bigfoot, but we have humans that are just as big, bigger, and guess what? They feed on us. It's got to be scary to think about. Don't get caught in war on the territory of a 12 feet tall human ready to eat you, because it might not be pretty. But I hope everybody liked it. Watched the video, checked everything out. I don't know, guys, do some more research, and I'll talk to you guys later.